Hello. There's no easy way to start this one off, but I'm recording this on the eve of the 20th anniversary, and I hate to say that word because I think anniversary should be used in celebration, but tomorrow, in just about 2 hours from now, it's almost 10 o'clock here, will mark 20 years since the 9/11 attacks. I just wanted to record this both on YouTube and audio, just my thoughts on the day, my remembrances of it, and how sports has changed the world. I mean, I've worked in sports for a long time now. I've been on the professional level for over 3.5 years now at this point. And I think sports are just a good way to get away from the real world. And I know that we've heard that conversation a lot over the last year and a half or so. But it definitely rings true because 10 days after the attacks, we saw what Mike Piazza did. The two-run home run that went about 490 feet. That's why sports are great. Because even on a personal level, our worst days, and in this country's worst days, sports give off this special sense of magic every single day. And for me, I knew that once I wasn't going to be playing college ball at any point, that's when I knew that I had to be in sports in some capacity. And hey, sports piss us off a lot more than they make us happy. Right now, the Yankees are losing 8-2 to the Mets. But Met fans are happy. Met fans are represented for the city of New York right now, which is kind of cool. I wish it was against someone else other than the Yankees, but it is what it is. But just moments like Piazza's home run, David Ortiz's speech after the Boston bombing. I remember WWF at the time, Lillian Garcia doing the national anthem. I want to say they were in Houston either 2 or 3 days after the attacks, that national anthem where every superstar in WWE was on the ramp. It's sad to talk about, but it's fun to talk about at the same time because, again, this is what sports does. Sports, it takes us away from whatever bad is going on in the world. So 20 years ago, in about 12 hours from now, it was the day before my 6th birthday. I don't remember much of the day at all. But the two things I remember clearly. First, my first grade teacher at the time, Mrs. Boyd, she sat us all down at our rug, the class rug, and she, for some reason, I'll never forget these exact words, but she said something really bad happened in New York. And the thing I remember was my dad worked in New York. My grandmother worked in New York. I knew a whole bunch of people living in New York at the time. Where in New York is this going on? When you're 5 years old, when you're 6 years old, you imagine that New York is only the city. And I feel like most people kind of forget that there's more of New York. But that's where your mind races to. I don't remember people in my class being picked up. I know that a lot of people were, but I don't remember that happening. The next thing I remember was coming home and seeing my mom in our living room glued to the TV. And the first thing I see on the TV is this big cloud of black smoke looking like it was bull rushing to the crowd, almost like it wanted to hurt people. It almost looked like the smoke just had legs of its own. And when you look at videos of that day, it kind of still seems like that. It kind of seems like the smoke wanted to hurt us. Those are my two memories of it. And I feel like every year, and especially now I live in a house where I can actually see the tribute of light if I go into my backyard porch. So I was outside for a few minutes before, just looking at it, literally just looking at it. I lived in the city for a couple of years. I remember when I used to work in North Jersey, I would drive after my shifts on September 11th and drive to see the lights. I've been there on the night I think in 2018, I drove to the memorial that day. I think in 2019, I was working a Mets home game, and during my dinner break, I needed to see it. And I think every year I reflect more and more on it, because I always think about how much worse this day could have been for me. If you know me, you know that my aunt's brother, essentially my uncle, you would know that my uncle passed. And it's not sad to think about that. It's more sad to think about the relationship that we could have had, because he's not my birth uncle, but I'm close with what are now his nieces and nephews and his brother, who are basically family to me at this point. He's in those cousins and that uncle, they're in the family group chat, so they are family. So that's what you think about, just the relationships that could have been had. And now, I mean, I'm turning 26 on Sunday, the day after the 20th anniversary. And my uncle lost his life at 25. And he was 25 and a half. I'm 25 and 365ths. So that's just every year you just think of something else that makes the day more upsetting. And excuse me, I think that's important. I think it's important that we remember. I think it's important to just reflect. And going back to how the day could have been worse, my dad was 3-4 blocks away, maybe. And today, I think today was the first time that I ever asked my dad. Today, keep in mind this happened 20 years ago. Today was the first time I ever asked my dad what he did during that day. I knew that he was in Manhattan. I knew that he had missed my birthday, which, again, I don't remember. But again, my birthday was the next day. I don't remember not seeing him for 3 days, but that happened. Today was the first time where I really asked him, like, what did you do? And he said that he almost evacuated north toward the buildings because he wasn't able to go south. And I found out today that that wasn't the case. And if he had evacuated at the time where they first told him to, and then they had to change the plans in that office building, and they said that they need to stay in the building. If that had not been the case, my dad might have been stuck under that rubble, which I just found out today. My dad told me a few years ago that when he finally came home he was in the New Jersey office for about 3 days just because of work just blew up on him. Bad choice of words there, but you had to stay in the office for like 3 days. And my mom told me this, or either I forgot who told me this a few years ago, but my dad laid down with my brother, me, and my basically newborn sister at the time for about an hour each of us separately, because there was a point where he thought that he would never see us again. Today I found out that my dad had called my mom saying, turn on the TV, this is my plan, and my dad told her, don't hang up. I just found that out today. I just found out today that my dad took boats to go to Jersey. So it's crazy to think about. Like I said before, I just think that it's important to reflect on the day. When I was a kid, I was so fascinated by everything. And another thing that I found out, like I said, the next day is my birthday. And I was apparently, this is all news to me literally today. I called my dad, and apparently I asked him, why did people blow up the buildings? Apparently those are my exact words. And I think, I remember being at a young age and seeing all the newspapers and the magazines and seeing the big balls of fire on all of these magazines. And I don't know if it was fascination. I don't know. I guess that's a good way to put it. I was just fascinated by it. Why, I don't know, but I still am fascinated by it. The last 3 days I was watching the new 9/11 documentary on Netflix. You will catch me watching a whole bunch of 9/11 documentaries over the next couple of days, I guess. The two that I'm really excited for I'm biased here, but SNY is about to premiere something about the Mets in 9/11 as soon as this game is over. MLB Network is broadcasting something. But that goes back to my original reasoning for wanting to record this, because sports do help us. Boston Marathon, David Ortiz said, "This is our city." So this is our fucking city. That's what he said. When the World Series happened, George Bush just gives the thumbs up, basically saying right now it's not okay, but it will be okay. And some people will never be okay, but we did come back pretty goddamn strong. But that was the whole purpose of this. I didn't want to make this like, hey, look at me type of thing. I'm sorry that I went off on a tangent about my own experiences more than I probably should have. But I guess I think it's important that we do talk about it, because the phrase "never forget" gets a little tiresome, because I don't think it's anything that we'll ever forget. But when people say it, I think people say it more along the lines of, it's okay to talk about this, and it's okay to reflect on the memories, both good and bad, about what happened, and it's okay to hear stories, and some stories are really fascinating. We've heard the stories of, this person showed up late, this person went to get coffee before he went into the towers, this person missed the plane. But again, this is why sports are great, because it's funny. It's ironic that I'm doing it now, because I'm skipping out on the Yankees and Mets. Maybe if the Yankees were winning 8-2 instead of losing 8-2, I would be watching the game right now. But that's why sports are great, because sports give us 3 hours of forgetting about the negative. Even a few years ago, I remember week 1 of the NFL season was on September 11th. And we were able to forget about it being September 11th for a few hours. We put on the Red Zone, we drank some beers, we ate some hot dogs, we ate some good food, and we watched football. And those are the days that I find special. You people who boycott sports in the NFL, feel bad for you, because those are the days that I cherish the most with my family. My favorite day of my entire life, one of them, was being at Derek Jeter's last game. One of my favorite memories with my brother was watching the Giants clinch the NFC East. One of my favorite memories with my friends was being at the Yankees-Astros Game 4 2017 ALCS. But sports are so much more than just a hobby and something to watch for a few hours. They are a lifestyle, and I don't mean that in a hyperbole. That's not an exaggeration. I've fallen in love with sports, and I can't imagine my life without them. Those 3-4 months without them sucked, from mid-March to mid-July, literally because I wasn't working and because I didn't have anything else to watch. Yeah, sports are more than a hobby to us, to me, on a day-by-day basis, on a professional basis, because I work in sports and I really don't know what I would do, both with myself and professionally, if they weren't around. So I don't know, that'll do it for me, I guess. Just wanted to reflect, say thank you to sports, I guess. If you lost someone 20 years ago, if you know someone who's lost one, I'm thinking of you. Don't be afraid to talk about your experiences. I think deep down we want to hear people's experiences, and this is a tough day for, even if you didn't lose anyone, this is a tough day for everyone, because I think some people who didn't lose someone kind of, I don't know, now I'm just word vomiting at this point. All I'm going to say, I'm just going to end it like, I hope we come together like we did 20 years ago. I just read a piece on NJ.com that 9/11 brought us together. The last 18 months have dragged us apart. And it's sad that that's the case. So all I can say is, let's hope that one day we can come together like we did. Sports do that sometimes. Sports don't do that sometimes. But some of my best memories in my life involve sports. And sports has gotten a lot of us out of a deep funk, most notably with Mike Piazza. All right, I'm done. I think I've said what I needed to say. I think I'm running out of words at this point. Keep talking about your experiences. Like I said before, if you lost someone, I'm thinking about you today. And really, I've been thinking about this day for a couple of weeks now because I feel like it's just been the talk of the talk, the talk. And now that it's actually here, it's kind of insane. But stay safe. And just keep this day in your thoughts. Keep families who have lost someone in your thoughts. Keep those firefighters in your thoughts. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And rest in peace to the almost 3,000 innocent lives that were taken that day. Thanks.